Today we're doing a deep dive into the Parklife DLC for Cities Skylines. Now, depending on when you ask me, I might have a few different answers to the question, which is my favorite DLC. Parklife is definitely one of those ones that keeps coming up. Ignore the traffic problems that you see in the background. Unfortunately, I've been doing a lot of building and not a lot of troubleshooting. We'll get to that at some point. Today, though, we're going to try and bring some beauty and tourists into our city, and we're also going to talk about how we can make some money off of Parklife by kind of tricking our citizens to walk a certain way and get some money to do it. So let me show you two things that I was working on before we'll get started on a zoo and a cheeky little trick to make some extra money. Whoa, that was a quick zoom. Way over here, I've got kind of a central park thingy. Ignore the fact that it's right next to the coast. It's central. Central if you look at it this way. So I've upgraded this to level 5, and there are a number of different gates around the area. This one, though, is not driving a lot of pedestrian traffic through it. So it's really people that are coming to enjoy the park. They'll spend some money, but we don't have a ton of people cutting through the park area. Same thing across the river over here. I'll fly a little slower this time. We've got an amusement park that I started building up over here on the coast. And I wanted to upgrade that to level 5 before I slotted in a zoo, which we'll do with this space over here. I don't know if it will be in today's episode, but I have been saving this area in the middle of a map for the nature reserve, so we'll be doing that at some point, if not today. But we'll also be talking about a very important trick for making some money. And I know that it'll be just such a tease if you have to fast forward to that later in the video, so why don't we talk about the money making first before we start talking about beautifying things, because it's pretty quick. But I'll show you what I've got going on right here. So we've got a bus station. And I don't have all the lines populated, which is why you see only every other platform really has anybody on it. And some have a lot more than others. But across the street, we've also got a metro station. Happens to be an on-ground stop. The train ducks down. I really like the look of it here. But the other thing that happens, we have lots of foot traffic here that wants to make the exchange from the metro to the bus or the bus to the metro. And in order to do that, they have to walk on foot across the street. Now, previously, this was just a regular 2-lane road. In fact, okay, it was a one-way, but a 2-lane street, a regular street that has sidewalks on it that pedestrians could just come down here. They're thinking about it, but they can't. You can't walk down here as a pedestrian. This is not a sidewalk. It's not recognized. So what they do instead is they come through here and follow this pedestrian path, which is a park gate, which is charging them money. I believe I have this one turned all the way up. Let me double check that. I do. It's set to $20. So every time somebody wants to go metro to bus or bus to metro and they walk there, you know what we could do? We could tighten up these crosswalks. Let's do that real quick. All right, so now we've got a crosswalk there. I'm hoping people, they usually adapt pretty quick. We'll start taking that. Let's see at 3 times speed if we get more foot traffic coming through there. It can only encourage things. It can't really hurt. It does a little pinch here, but it's not the end of the world. So let's do this trick again. But the reason why this works, I think I partially started explaining, is that there are not sidewalks there because that's highway on-ramp, which does not have pedestrian paths. So let's do the same thing over here at our monorail station, which is actually a train monorail metro hub. So there's a lot of foot traffic that comes and goes from here. Yes, people are, exchanging lines and going all over the city, but there's a fair amount of foot traffic if we watch out here, right? There's plenty of people coming in, and we would like them to pay. So let's do that. How we do that, or at least how I like to do it in this scenario, is we're going to upgrade the last segment of road that connects at the end here to a highway patch. And in fact, I just realized this is not one way. It may as well be at this point because highway's only going to allow it to travel that way anyways. So really just pause for a minute because we've prevented the pedestrians from getting from A to B, right? They can't get from this road down to there because there's no connection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a city park, and we're just going to cover the area where we want the gates to be. It doesn't matter really where it is. We'll use the small side gate here. We'll drop one there. So we have a small main gate. Where can we slot a... That's not going to let me build on that curve. And of course I can't fit it in between, huh? Oh, this is not a great example. I had to straighten that road there for it to allow me to connect. So a little bit of decoration hides some of the slop, but now we've created a pedestrian path. Again, if we interact with the park itself, we can raise the ticket price up to $20. It may deter some people from coming in, but it may make us some more money also. Certainly if there's enough demand for traveling to and from that area. Repeat the process on the other side. In this case, all side gates again. Since we've already defined that park area, we don't have to do anything to define our... Ooh, am I going to be able to fit that in there? Okay, good. So that one's not quite as elegant as the one that I built over here. I left myself a little bit more space between the main road and where I dropped the hub. In this case, things were just a little bit tighter. I didn't give myself enough room there. Let it play at 3 times speed for a minute here, and yeah, it looks a little awkward in this case. But if you think ahead, unlike I did, we can always move stuff around and fix it later. But hopefully that gives you a good idea for how you can kind of cheese some money out of your citizens. They're going to be walking that way anyways, so Parklife allows us to make a little bit of money in the process. Again, if you plan ahead though, make things look a little bit prettier. Speaking of making things a little bit prettier, I really just kind of built a rough draft of an amusement park over here and wanted to slot a zoo in on the other side. So we're going to do that. And then once we see really the space that all of it takes up, I'll probably come back and do another pass. But I want to talk today just about leveling the park up, building it out, and how all the mechanics work. So let's go back into our park area painting tool, and I'm going to steal some of this area back now. In fact, if we want to be safe, we could just come over here with the small brush. Make sure we're not eating into anywhere we don't want to, because this is going to be zoo over here. We're going to do a new area. Okay. Now we can switch over to the larger brush. I feel a little safer. And we can use up the rest of that area. This area is partially responsible for some of the car traffic that I'm having problems with, though I did hook it in to the monorail. This is a single line that connects from here. This has a relatively busy metro stop, access to external train network, and monorail to the rest of the city. So it's pretty good at getting people over here, but it is responsible for some traffic. Anyways, with the zoo, do we go main gate large or main gate small? I'm going to go main gate large, kind of here. Oops, I skipped over that. That basically just told us all the different buildings that we've unlocked. We're going to talk about all those right now. Now, we can't do another main gate, but we can do a side gate, and I thought it would be kind of cool. I know it's a little bit redundant, and that is doing something super glitchy, but I wanted to have kind of the side gates facing each other. And then we can do the same trick with the roads here. Well, it's actually a pretty good spot. Okay, so let me do that, and then we can do crosswalks right there and there. That actually lines up really nicely. So we've got the main gate here for our amusement park, Chirpy Land, technically Concord Land. It named it automatically, but since the sign doesn't change, I'll probably match that up. But this has a decent amount of traffic, again, from monorail, foot traffic. We should do the same thing. I just realized the crosswalk's way down there. Okay, we'll leave it. I'm going to do it. Let's fix it. What are you doing, mouse? Okay. It's quick. It's easy. We're done. There's more sensible crosswalks there. Didn't really need this one down here where the raised road meets the regular road, we'll create one as well. But anyways, that aside, Squirrel, Chirpy Land, you can come in here, you can enjoy the park and all its offerings. And then there's the side gate over here. If you want to head over to the zoo, spend more money. It's a different park though. You got to pay money to enter. It's just like Universal. It's 5 feet away and takes the other half of your wallet. But either way you break it down, we can start connecting some paths here. So let's connect the most basic of paths that intersect these two. And then we can start framing out from there. So in fact, I'll go down like that just so we can get start to get an idea of some of the area that we're going to fill in here. And let's do maybe 2 down like that. We'll do kind of a square plaza area. I think we'll continue down this way. And then we'll see what we do over here towards the water. So what do we unlock? Well, you start again with the main gate or small main gate and side gate options, footpaths and fences as well. We'll come back in and clean up some fences after. But then we can start to decorate with things like plazas. And these objects are not necessarily tied to zoning, so they will really float even with snapping on. But they will want to snap to either a road or a path. They can all snap the footpaths. So for our main plaza, I kind of want that, right in your face when you walk in the door. So I think that works. And you can repeat these buildings also. So if you wanted, to do something like this, like a plaza of plazas, and had some footpaths and things running through the middle, you could do that also. Actually, that's not bad. I like that. We can keep that. Up next is the cafe, and we might be able to fill in some of that space here. Now, each one of these objects has an entertainment value to it, and entertainment's part of the thing that you're unlocking or upgrading to get to that next level. We've got a souvenir shop, and any good amusement park should have these plastered all over the exit area so that there's no way you can leave the park without seeing merchandise. So let's get one on both avenues there. We wouldn't want you sneaking out. How big are the restrooms here? Can we slot these in next to? That's actually pretty good. Cafe, take a food break, go to the bathroom. Now, what kind of zoo would it be though without animals? And we've got 3 enclosures to start with. We've got moose and reindeer, a birdhouse, and an antelope enclosure. Now, where some of the enclosures like this will actually snap to a footpath, some like the moose and reindeer, if you try and snap, they kind of overlap. So you don't want to do that. You want to basically use your D-pad to kind of line things up, get it where you want it. Get it past where you want it, and then try and get it back to where you want it. But once you settle on something that's close enough, go ahead and drop that in, and then you can hook that into your footpaths. We don't have to worry about that with the birdhouse. That's one of those ones that will snap to our existing paths. Same thing with the antelope enclosure. We'll put that right across from there. But for right now, those are all of the buildings that we have unlocked, and we'll have to wait to upgrade our park, or level up our park, I should say, before we'll be able to unlock things like lions and elephants and sea life enclosures. We'll let the game run on 3x speed. Again, we can go back and inspect on our park if we want to see where things are at. We have 10 of 500 visitors and plenty of entertainment. So really, it's just a waiting game now. Once we hit that 500 mark, we'll jump to the next level. We'll leave our ticket prices at $10 to hopefully help encourage some people to come into the city. So we're going to do things a little bit out of order today while we're waiting for that to level up. We're going to drop some unique buildings into the map. So with the Parklife DLC, our first is the City Arch, and this one we're going to place kind of on our main entrance into our original part of the city, if it'll let me snap it. And this will go snap over a road, which is kind of a cool little object, and acts as a little entranceway, a little unofficial gateway to our city. There's some really cool effects that all these buildings have on tourism, especially. This level 1, the City Arch, increases tourist capacity of roads by 5%. Not too bad. The next one, though, is definitely my favorite, and this is the level 2 unique building, the clock tower. Clock tower helps by increasing the speed of trains by 20%. It also looks really, really cool in your city. So if you have Parklife, find a spot for this thing. It's such a cool unique. It's so good, especially for the smaller residential areas. All right, anyways, I could gawk at that thing all day. Let's keep talking about uniques. At level 3 is another one that I've specifically carved out some space for, and I think I did it right. Oh, it's so big. Did I get it spot on? One extra? I'll take it. This is Old Market Street. This one, you want to think about where you place it. So let's take a look real quick. It benefits nearby commercial areas. So it's actually not a bad spot. It's pretty decent. And it's another one that is, I think, a very cool look for the right part of your city. And of course, you know, we're talking about a cool look for your city from a guy wearing a purple fanny pack and a chartreuse shirt. So, and sandals and socks. I should probably call that one out too. Anyways, his personal taste in fashion aside, it's a cool little thing. So, another nice unique. Unfortunately, I can't see the same for the next one. It's not that it's a bad building. It's just I don't usually build on the water. And up next is the Sea Fortress. This one will increase the ship and airport traffic tourist capacity by 5%. We'll drop this in on the edge of the map for right now. Do I have a spot where it's close enough to the road to not complain? That might work. I hope that works. We'll get this out of here soon. Don't worry about that. But you know, depending on your map, you might have a spot for that. I generally don't. I tend not to build on the coastlines that much. Down here in our downtown area, right next to our health monument, what is it, the medical center? Got a little spot here for the observation tower. Now the tallest thing on our map. This has the effect of increasing the radius effect of parks and plazas by 10%. So if you're going to be doing lots of parks, then get extra benefit from it by dropping in the observation tower. At level 6, another one that is water specific. I'm gonna orphan this over here for right now because we'll honestly probably be getting rid of that one. It does increase the stay of tourists in your city by 20%. It's a very cool one from an effect, but I don't know that, you know, that doesn't fit. That doesn't fit what I'm doing here. We're gonna leave this in for a second though, because I do want to add in, I think, the monument, and I've built a little switchback up the hill here. So I was going to nature reserve most of this area, but I thought we could throw a little castle up on the hill. That might be okay. So that is the castle of Lord Chirpwick. It's a little close to these people in the back. Maybe we'll have to rethink that street. But that's kind of got a nice look to it. We'll have to run some water and electricity up there, it looks like. But the castle of Lord Chirpwick, it has a global entertainment value of 100. Every building has an entertainment value of something now in Parklife. But its big effect is that it increases the attractiveness of all unique buildings by 25%. So, you know, Parklife's all about beautification, and people want to come see that beautification in the form of tourists. So make sure your roads are ready to handle it, because you're going to see more traffic. I've got to get some road work done and some airports and things like that. But as we improve, it's going to mean just, you know, more money coming in from the outside, which is never a bad thing. Tourists are great because they'll come in, pay you money, and leave, and you don't have to support them with the same services for fire and healthcare and roads and all those other things that you do have to provide for your citizens. So anyways, where are we at here? Like I said, it's a waiting game, and this is why I did some of this work offline. We're at 488, 490, almost there. So actually that was really good timing. I almost planned it that way. So we've leveled up a couple things, and we just repeat this process again and again. If we go back into the zoo objects, the last two things before the locked objects here at the end are going to be those ones that we just unlocked. So a bison enclosure and an insect, amphibian, and reptile house. And just like that, it's time to wait again. Double check your entertainment value at this point, and as long as it's in the green and above what the base requirement is, it's just a matter of waiting to hit that next number of tourists. Most of the time, you'll reach that next level of entertainment by simply adding the buildings that you've unlocked in that last unlock. But just remember, if you come up a little bit short, there's no reason you can't repeat some of these buildings, drop in some more souvenir shops, cafes, restrooms, plazas, whatever it might be to get you to that next hurdle on entertainment. And again, the rest is just a waiting game. One other building we should talk about is the park maintenance building. This one's a facility that's going to send out trucks to basically drive around the city and boost the parks, increasing their entertainment value and the radius that they affect. So it's a small cost, a little bit of upkeep to basically boost the effect of your parks. You'll see little trucks like this buzzing around the areas. We may also want to have a look at the leisure menu and specifically the park areas to kind of see where we do and don't have good park coverage. But we may want to also check out where our tourists are going and where is most attractive. Often those two things are pretty closely linked, as you can see. Actually, what are these things down here that they are hitting for tourism spots? Just little parks over here? Okay. They like the parks. They're just not particularly attractive, I guess. Maybe the park maintenance boost will help with that. But where are things grouped that the tourists are attracted to? Well, certainly around this area here. And I think we'll do a couple things kind of around this main block of tourist traps. Those are all pretty close to. We might think about putting a footpath through there. But let's use one of the new mechanics, and we've got to go into a new tab here, Tours. And there's a sightseeing bus depot. So where can we slot this in? Over near our other bus depot? Do we need these power lines here? What is that passing power for? For nothing. Let's just throw it on this road. I probably should have put it across the street. Or not across the street, but this way so that the buses aren't turning in and out of the building. That would have made more sense. So we don't, they're going to be turning in and out of the building. We don't want them turning in and out on the main street, which is already pretty heavily trafficked. So now if we go into transport with that in place, now we can do a sightseeing bus stop line. And this isn't about moving people around. It's about moving tourists to things that they might want to see. So let's have them stop here. We'll have them stop at the courthouse before we stop. Before we stop here, I think this is going to be close enough to the mall and the park. We may as well stop there at the gardens, here at the university before we circle back and complete the line. So hot air balloon tours, we don't need to do too much to set up like we did with blimps before, where we're actually doing transport lines, but it does pay to have a high appeal value around the starting point. We'll make it more popular. That might be a little close for comfort to some of the residents. Maybe we could knock things back just a house or two and put some trees up. Parklife was actually the DLC that allowed for that, or technically it was the free update that happened around the Parklife release. But it enabled the ability to, let me de-zone this before I forget. But it gave us the ability to block noise with trees. So that wasn't possible in the base game If you have a nice network of trees, it'll actually cut back from noise from traffic or buildings, whatever it might be. Spam some different trees in there. It's easier if you use a smaller brush and actually place them. But it can help look a little bit more the part, shield from noise, which I don't think is actually a problem with the hot air balloon tours. But those will just be seen. There you go, flying around the city every once in a while. So just one of those things makes you feel a little bit more alive. Of course, all the traffic that we're bringing in from all the tourists is helping it feel more alive also. One other thing we can do, and we can probably kind of repeat it, at least in our downtown area. Let me zip over here. Is back on the transport and tours tab is a walking point of interest tour. All right, so for a walking tour of interest, same kind of principle as the bus tour. You could make the stops, I guess, a little bit closer because people are going to be walking. So we just have a little walking tour to get some tourists moving up and down our downtown area. It's an ultimate destination for them, so they may be convinced to come to downtown because of that tour. You could probably do some more impressive things than I in this quick demo, but just good things to keep in mind that I often overlook. I don't put a lot of emphasis on tourism routes, but those things definitely, if you want to bring in a lot of people and move them around the city, make it look a little busy, definitely some good things you can do with Parklife. Where is our zoo at? 2374 of 2500. So again, pretty good timing, but you can see that I'm getting an awful lot of stuff done in the background while we're waiting for this to go at 3 times speed, no less, most of the time. There are a few policies that we should definitely talk about. Prefer parks. We'll have tourists in the area choose to visit parks more than unique buildings. Parks and plazas draw on 10% more visitors. There's a cost of $100 per park, plaza, or park area in the policy area. So if that's for your entire city, that can be an expensive policy, but it can make your parks look a lot busier. Park maintenance boost does double shifts. So it costs more money, but the parks are more efficient, and it increases the vehicle shift length by 50%, but it makes that constant boost of the park area effect increase just that much more prevalent in the city. So again, if you're really going for, a massive central park, at least throw that on, the district, the preferred parks option, and consider park maintenance boost just to push things a little bit further with that park maintenance building benefit. Another one to think about at this point is boost connections. So this one is an expensive one, $10,000 per week, but the outside connection traffic capacity is increased by 20%. And that applies to boats, planes, trains, and cars that may come in on the highway. So every which way people come into your city, there'll be 20% more capacity for that. And that can have a huge knock-on effect on your money. So again, if you're going tourism heavy, especially, not just park heavy, but that is an especially good one to turn on and help drive some more people into the city. Again, consider that will be bringing more of everything. So you'll need to be able to support more traffic on your networks, and backups will get worse before you'll start making enough money to do major infrastructure changes. So, might want to have things in decent shape traffic-wise before you go too far down that path. And as I say that, we're at 73%. So I've got some work to do. I'll probably do some stuff on a breakout episode, a little behind the scenes of dealing with some of the traffic problems I've created here. But hopefully you got an idea today for Parklife. This one's a little bit weird. I wanted to do a little bit of grinding off camera, a little bit of grinding on camera. I don't think I realized how slow it was, and thought we were going to do a 5-star, but it seems like there's going to be an awful lot of waiting around for this zoo. Are we super close? Is it at least going to level as I'm outroing maybe? We'll unlock our next set, but this really is a process that is simple and easy enough to repeat. Again, just drop in all the buildings that you unlock each level, and if that entertainment value is ever just a little bit too low, you can always repeat buildings. But that was a quick look at Parklife. Hopefully you enjoyed. Again, this one was I feel like this one was super weird and super unproductive. But Parklife, the wonderful thing about it is that it really can be just about anything that you want it to be. You can create tiny little parks, massive central parks. You can do ridiculous things to cheese money out of your citizens, like I've done here with these curvy paths around my monorail station. There's a lot of fun things to be done with Parklife, so definitely explore that. Functional, decorative, it's all fair game in Parklife, and it can just really make the city feel more alive with all the tourism that you can affect and bring in. So definitely check this one out. Again, this series is all about sort of helping people understand and really break apart what the different DLCs do. Maybe you've got the plain vanilla game on Game Pass or PS Now, Epic Game Store. I know they've given it away a few different ways. Maybe you're wondering about some of the DLC, whether or not it fits in, whether or not it's for you, or just trying to make sense of it all. Sometimes I forget what's in what DLC, and doing this series has been really interesting. Building a vanilla city and then bolting on all these DLCs one by one, sort of figuring out which mechanics I like best. Parklife is absolutely one of my favorites. This week was all about making the city look more beautiful, and I think in some ways I've done that, and in other ways I've got some terrible half-finished projects, and to surround it all, we've brought in a ton more tourists and a ton more traffic, so you be the judge. Better or worse than where we started at the beginning of the week, I don't know. But if you enjoyed, likes, comments, and shares, they all help the channel so much. They're so greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you're new and hit the bell to get notifications for updates in this and other series. Check back next week. We'll be going into campus and industries, and those are kind of closely intertwined in that they're more about the mechanics of what you're managing, but they've got some good, cool decorative things and stylistic things we can do with them also. So check back for that next week. If you'd like to support the channel, links to that and so much more in the description down below. But until the next one, oh, that traffic. I'll do something about that. Until the next one, Move the Mouse, signing off.